So, real quick, I just wanted to say I haven't been putting videos out because I've been pretty busy, and I will continue to be busy the next week or two. Um, but there is some content that I'm going to be pumping out soon, and one is I am going to be playing AB when it comes out for Arc Ascended. You know, I'll be starting on 6-man and maybe joining an official tribe. So I'll have a lot of content to push out with that. I'll probably just do like the build up and the PvP I'll do videos on all of it. I'll do a review of AB. Also Black Ops 6 is coming out. Definitely be playing that. The new Warhammer game's coming out. I'll be reviewing and playing that. And then also I will continue to play Tarkov. So I'll be just pumping all of that out when I find the time. After these next couple of weeks, I will be back to trying to post like once or twice a week for the 4 people that actually watch my videos. But today's video, I wanted to talk about tips and tricks for Tarkov, just things you can do to make yourself better. I see a lot of videos on this. I've watched videos trying to like improve my gameplay because last wipe was my first wipe. I started playing like in the middle of it. I got addicted to the game. I was pretty much only playing Tarkov and not really other games. And I've gotten to a spot where I'm decent. I'm not great. So I wanted to talk about tips that work for people that are new or just okay. Because I've realized some of these videos, when you watch them, they tell you these tips and tricks, and there's a little bit of a detachment. Like you have these guys with like 5K hours, crazy KDs, just absolute chads, you know, playing all day long, and they're like, oh, do this and this, and you're like, okay, but I suck ass, and I literally can't do that. Like that tip isn't really gonna help me. So this is more of a grounded, like I am your average gamer, you know, I would like to think I'm getting good at Tarkov, and these are some of the things that have helped me a lot. So tip number 1, you're going to hear this a lot. If you watch other videos, people are going to talk about this. And this main thing that everybody tells new players not to have is gear fear. I'm actually going to say some of these guys are wrong about that. So the idea of it is you go in with your best gear, you're less likely to die. You're going to, you know, be able to take more shots if you have better armor. If you have better ammo, you're going to, you know, be able to pierce their armor. Better guns, better accuracy, stuff like that, right? Like, we get the idea of not having gear fear. And I will say, the end of my last wipe, I ended up having a lot of gear I didn't use. Gear fear is kind of dumb, but this is one of those things that I say they are kind of detached from what the new player is actually experiencing. Especially in the beginning when you're trying to do your tasks, you're trying to learn the map, you don't know what's going on at all. It doesn't matter what fucking kit you have, you're gonna get shit on. If you're 20 hours in and you put on the best gear you could fucking put on, you know, the gear that they give you at the beginning of wipe, you slap on your M4, you fucking go in with your armor and the best helmet, best headset, whatever, and you push some guy with 3K fucking hours camping the fucking task, it doesn't matter. You could go in there with a juggernaut suit on, and he's probably gonna fucking pick you apart. You just don't have the skills. So actually, what I would say is, in the very beginning, there is nothing wrong with like going and scavving and bringing like a scav kit in. Now, I'm not saying go and run with fucking handguns, no armor, no nothing. You will 100% die then, and you're not gonna learn anything. But there's nothing wrong with taking a shitty AK that you had to repair from a fucking scav with level 2 armor and shitty headphones and going and learning how to get into engagements and learning the map too. If you don't know the map, you're not going to know where people camp. You don't even know where the tasks are. You're going to have to watch a bunch of videos on that. People camp the tasks, especially in the beginning. I mean, it'll be a little differently later in wipe, but the whole like don't have any gear fear is kind of, I don't think is wise. As you go along, I would say what would be smart is like if you want to save that M4 and the nice rig and headset and helmet for when you're traveling with 3 of your buddies, right? And maybe you're not doing a task that you know people are going to be camping. Like if you're trying to find the scientist or doctor or whatever, and get the hard drive, like everybody camps that fucking task. Maybe don't go fucking kitted with 30 hours to do that task. You know, go with your scav kits, die 47 times. And then when you have to go get Saliwas and now you have 100 hours or whatever, now bring the kits. Save that for, you know, when you're with your boys and you have a more PvP oriented goal in mind. I think that's kind of important because these guys will tell you don't have any gear fear, right? Buddy, if I have 45 hours, I'm not going to kill you. You could go in there with a fucking handgun, and I could go in there with, you know, the best kit I fucking have, and you're going to kill me if I have 45 hours and you have 3,000. Like, it's just, there's that big of a skill gap where it doesn't matter, and you die fast enough in this game, especially with headshots, that it doesn't matter. So I would say that's tip one on what has helped me is I will not anymore, but when I was learning the game, I would go scav, get a scav kit, and go and be aggressive because I knew I could just get another kit. So one, that makes you play less like a bitch, and two, you're not just going to blow through all your kits and money. Tip two, and I know this is more of kind of like just a rant, but I think these are like viable rants. Like, I think if you listen to this, you might be like, oh, he has a fucking point. Tip two, I would say, is learn the movement tech. And by that, I mean learn how to jiggle, you know, learn how to jump and peek a fucking corner by turning your head to the side, like when you jump past a door frame or something. I'll post a video showing that, and how to like bunny hop into a room and out of a room. If you look at some of my other videos, I kind of do hit those things. I'm not the best at it, but learning that is fucking huge, because just slow leaning peeking a door, slow as fuck, is just not the move in this game. And then also, you will come to realize that sometimes there are ping issues, like in all games, and they might see you before you see them. So running and jumping across a doorway and turning your head to the side is actually a lot safer than slowly leaning and peeking when the guy probably has an angle and now it's like a 50-50 on who has better ping. Like, you don't want that. So I would fucking get those movements down, and how I would learn that is, like I said, use the scav kits. I would watch just like YouTube shorts, quick videos of people just PvPing. Like, don't watch like how to PvP in Tarkov. Just watch the good players PvP, and you'll be like, oh wow, pay attention. Some people are running around like it's COD. They are ping abusing. There's a way to get into other servers, and then you have peeker's advantage every time you peek. So you gotta be careful who you're watching. But a lot of the streamers like copy how they PvP and copy that movement tech. And this will flow into another tip, and that is play arena, because one, you will get into a ton of engagements that don't matter, because if you lose, you're not losing your kit. You just go into the next round and try again. So you'll get your aiming down. You'll figure out what guns you like. With the creative class, you can learn how to actually make good guns. You can try all these movement techs, because who cares? Who cares? You have a shitty KD on arena. Who the fuck cares? So learn how to move around. Learn how to play that PvP side of things on arena. I wouldn't say just dive in and only play arena, because there's so many aspects to the actual extraction part of the game, like getting to exfils, dealing with scavs, bosses. The way people play on the actual game is a little differently than they play on arena. You know, arena's more like fucking COD, like a realistic COD, versus where like you have all these windows and spots you gotta worry about, and you got tasks and just all that bullshit. So I wouldn't just dive into arenas, but definitely play it. Like, if you try to complete a task 3 times and you just are getting shit on, you're like, I'm getting nowhere tonight, whatever, hop on arena, fucking get better at shooting whatever fucking gun you're using. You know, you're like, oh, every time you peek doorways you get fucking shit on. Learn the movement tech, like I said. Little tiny tip though, grenades are huge. Grenades are very powerful. I think people don't use them enough, especially newer people. If you watch like good players play, they use grenades a lot. They use flashbangs. Like, those things are actually really good, and I think that's part of like not having gear fear as well, is making sure you go in with like the meds you need, and grenades, and just like all the little things that do add up in price but will save you, like morphine or painkillers of some sort, grenades, CMS, just enough that if you do win a gunfight, you don't fucking bleed out 3 seconds later. As for the grenades, a small tip I will give is, yes, they're really good, especially when you know someone's camping in a room, but keep in mind, when you pull the pin, it makes a noise. When you pull out a grenade, it makes a noise. And what that alerts the guy that you're trying to kill is that you are standing there without a gun in your hand. So people will 100% fucking swing you when they hear that noise. I swing when I hear that noise. So it's a little harder to use grenades if you're playing alone. But if you're playing with a friend, just have a guy up and ready for that swing. And you can even bait that swing by pulling out a grenade, putting it away, and seeing if he fucking pushes off of it. Because, you know, one, he doesn't want the grenade to get tossed in the room he's in, if it's a small enough room. And then two, he thinks that you're a free kill. So that's just a small tip that I think can go a long way. If you're, you know, stacking 2-3 people and you use grenades right, fuck yeah, dude. Like, that, it'll get you a lot of kills. Last tip, and I think this is a pretty important one. Don't crab walk around the map. Kind of going back to what I said before about, like, having a scav kit, not being afraid to be aggressive, learn the fucking map, stuff like that. Because, like, for example, let's say we have player 1 and player 2. Player 1 is starting at the same time as player 2. They're both new to the game. Player 2 crouch walks around the map. Once in a while, shoots somebody in the back. He has a good KD and a nice looking stash. And player 1's running around, learning the maps, getting killed by campers, getting in gunfights, sometimes multiple gunfights, losing the kits he's collected along the way in that match. Doesn't have the best KD, doesn't have the best looking stash. But halfway through wipe, if those two players meet, player 1 is going to be better than player 2, and player 1's going to be better at getting tasks done, and player 1's going to be better next wipe. Because for a lot of people, what I notice is they play a little too realistically. Like, they feel like their life's on the line. They go and they find a corner and they fucking sit in it, and then they crouch walk around the map. One, by the time you get to the high loot areas, like the good loot areas, it's going to be picked through. It's going to be all gone. Two, when you're new, you're not going to get into enough engagements to get better. So like I said, if you have player 1, player 2, and they meet halfway through the season, player 2 who's used to crouch walking around, scared, is going to get shit on by player 1 who's been fighting the Chads, getting shit on over and over again, and then when he runs into you, now it's his turn to be the hammer instead of the nail. So I think that's a big mistake people make, because they go, oh, well, I'm trying to keep my stash going and all that. Your stash doesn't matter. It's what matters is having money to replenish whatever you want to get. And the only way to get money is to do your tasks, run around, kill people, and sell their loot, or go to the high loot areas and collect the loot before other people do. Genuinely meaning you're probably going to fucking, you know, fight people on the way there or once you get there. Yes, you can get money off of ratting. You can sit in at the fucking exfil and hope the fucking exfil camp somebody. You could sit in the high loot room, all that, right? But you're just not going to be as good, and nobody's going to fucking care. Like, oh wow, you have a 4 KD, but you sit in a fucking corner, don't move the entire game, and then maybe you shoot one person. Like, you're just not going to be as good. If that's all you care about is having a cool looking stash with loot that when the season wipes that you've never fucking touched, so it's just sitting there pointless, then be my guest, play that way. But like, if you want to get good, hard push people, you know, play smart, listen for sound cues, do stuff like that. You'll see in the clips I've been posting, I listen, like, sound cues are huge, but don't be afraid to engage in gunfights. Like, that's how you're going to get better, is repeated gunfights, through playing arenas, through pushing people on the actual fucking game. Sorry this is a long ass video. I doubt anybody's watched it this long, but I hope just my little rants about stuff. Breaks down why you should do those things and how you should do it, kind of. So if you have any questions or any added advice, drop it in the comments, please. Subscribe if you haven't. So yeah.
Well, you can transfer the money that you start out with. You start out with like a mil, and so you can transfer like 800K, I think. So there's like a price for it, and you can get a bunch of GP.
Wait 1 sec. I'm fighting to the death right now.
Yes, babe.
And it looks like I'm dead.
That's tough.
I don't know if I killed him. It'd be pretty pathetic if I did. No, please! No fucking way! Oh my god. I fucking did! Dude, the fucking luck is retarded.